Here we go.
I'm good right here.
That's not this type of show. Welcome to the show. I love the audience today. I am loving these people. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. Happy Wednesday. I got to tell you, the weather is so horrible. I feel like it's November 22nd instead of May, but I promise you over the next hour, we're going to make you laugh. We're going to cheer you up. And that lady right over there is going to help us. Say hello to Kendall, everybody. Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Wednesday allergy check. How you doing?
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I'm worried about you.
My eyes are poofier than ever. But
okay.
I went out to my car after work yesterday, and like the pollen was visibly all over my car, and I was like,
oh, I know. I'm sorry.
But you know what? We're 3 to 5 days in, so
okay.
I'm gonna go with there's only like 15 days to go.
And then you'll be done.
It's fine.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Everything is fine.
Yes.
We'll know once the glasses are no longer on that I can see again.
Well, I'll give you the same compliment that I've given you the last 3 days. You people at home can't tell because you look beautiful. You look great. You can't tell. Yeah.
Thanks.
You look great. And you look like my elementary school librarian. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I've gotten that from so many people here.
Yeah.
They're like, you look like you're gonna yell at me today.
Yes. I'm waiting for you to show me where the card catalog is. That's right. Which, do they even have those anymore in schools? Do they have card catalogs? No.
We should have asked Sid.
What do they do? They have a robot now? What do they? What kids don't know how to? It's a computer.
The interwebs.
The interwebs.
The interwebs.
I love that this is the international sign for computer right there. Yeah. No, so no more card catalogs or cursive. What's up with kids? I mean, it was cursive. It was one of the few subjects I did very well in. I was like, I had a very anyway. Well, welcome to the show. Hey, now I got to tell you, I love every day's audiences. Every day I'm just grateful people come to our show. Today's, they are just kick butt today. They're sassy. Now, here's a challenge. Next week, we have some open slots. Who knows? Any day could be a mug day. Aaron Schwab, it could be Aaron Schwab dancing day. You never know. So come see us. It's going to be a short week because of Memorial Day. So Tuesday through Friday, we have slots available. Come see us. You're in at 9:30. You're out by 10:15. So come see us and click the ticket tab on our Facebook page. There we go. Okay, everybody. Let's get to it. It's time for the hot dish. Here we go. That's hungry today. First up, if you thought Ellen was starting to lose her interest in her talk show, I thought that. I did. I said it here. Think again. She made a rather big and surprising announcement yesterday. Look.
Okay, so I have been doing this show for 16 years. That's about 3,000 episodes. A lot. I don't remember them, but I'm told it was enjoyable. And when we started, that was before Instagram, before YouTube. We were young, we were bored out of our minds. And from the beginning, I said that this show was going to be like a relationship. We have been through the good, the bad, the 50 Shades of Grey phase, and it's been a lot of fun, and 16 years is a pretty good run. Sometimes in a relationship, you need to take a break. But I don't. You're stuck with me because I just signed for 3 more years.
Yeah, 3 more years. Well, Ellen, some fun facts here. Ellen has won 63 daytime Emmys. 63, that's a lot. Yeah, I know. I mean, we have won none. No. We were nominated twice, and each time, I'm not joking, we're beaten by Iowa Opera. You know, Both times. One
Really?
opera was about a whale. We were beaten, and then the other was about a whale. I don't know. The other one was something. It was like Dracula. We were beaten by Dracula. Dracula the opera.
Well, that makes sense.
So this year, this is what. What do you mean this makes sense, Allergy?
I mean,
I take back my compliment, Mrs. Beetle. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, calm down. Calm down. Dracula's just pretty epic.
So this is what we're going to do this year. Our Emmy strategy is we're going to be doing a special opera episode of The Jason Show. That's right. Aaron Schwab will star in it.
Yep.
Because if you guys don't know this isn't a joke. Allergy over there can sing opera.
Allergy.
She can, yes.
Allergy.
Yeah.
Formerly, I'm a reformed opera singer.
Yeah, but we'll make you. But you have to get it up for this episode.
You need to give me
get the
6
voice
months.
up.
6 months notice.
Okay, we'll do it. Next, but anyway, congratulations to Ellen. I was only surprised because you heard me say on this show, she seemed. I'm just being honest. She seemed kind of over it. My mother-in-law, who watches every day, was like, "Oh, she just seems more interested in But you know why? Warner Brothers took a big dump truck and they backed it into her and Portia's house and dumped money right in her driveway. That's why.
Okay.
Next, another person who doesn't need any more money, my buddy Howard Stern. He's out promoting his new book and visited Colbert last night. He's doing his publicity tour and talked about what drove him to be the king of all media, as they call him. Look at this.
But I think as a kid growing up, I was very isolated and very lonely and very starved for attention. And I would do a lot of things to get attention. And, the world of adults and getting them to be interested in me, particularly my mother and father, I think it was a very difficult thing for me. And so, growing up and then finally getting on the radio, I think, and this is it. There was one point we had 1 out of every 4 cars on the Long Island Expressway in New York listening to me. And I would go home depressed thinking, why are the other 3 not listening to me? And when I say depressed, I mean it. It wasn't enough for me. It's like I wanted to just have every listener and everybody's focus on me. And I will warn you, as I do in this book, that is a dangerous way to live. It can't be accomplished as much as I wanted to do that. But part of psychotherapy was growing up and saying, you know what, I've got to share the audience with you, Stephen Colbert. And
thank you, Howard.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
A lot of growing. Yeah.
The audience.
I could relate to that. I think I got into other than the fact that I loved it, and because of my grandma, and because that's all we did together really was cook and watch Love Boat, Carol Burnett, and Dallas. But other than that, I think it was because I was bullied as a kid. I was made fun of. I didn't have a lot of friends as a young kid, so I needed that validate. I looked for validation anywhere I could. So I got into a play to get the literal applause, and I think it was one of the things that drove me. I can relate to that now. But the older you get, it really is true. This is the only thing. I've complained. I haven't liked my 40s. It's getting better. 44 is I'm turning a corner. But the 40s, everybody lied to me. That was like, oh, the 40s are going to be great. No, y'all lied to me. But I'm liking right now. The couple months. But anyway, the one thing about the 40s that I have liked is you do start caring a little less about what other people think of you. You really do. Yeah. You start just like, well,
Right.
You know what? You don't like the show? Well, I'm sorry. We try our best. Yeah. Anyway. Howard Stern's book, Howard Comes Again, is available where books are sold. Next, one of Coca-Cola's giant failures is coming back. I love this story so much, thanks to Stranger Things. Check out what Coca-Cola tweeted yesterday.
First time, first love, oh, what feeling is this? Electricity flows like the very first kiss, like a break in the clouds, in the first ray of
Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Steve. Let's share a Coke, something
You're late.
Coca-Cola is it.
Oh, cool. I love their teasers. New Coke is making a comeback. Now, if you don't know, Kendall, do you know anything about New Coke? You got to represent. No, it's okay. You got to represent the.
Nope.
Okay.
BK before Kendall.
So listen to this. Oh, I like that. BK, let's use that. Okay, BK before Kendall. The product, New Coke debuted in 1985. It was a big splash. Coke, they had a commercial campaign. Well, it didn't last long, but a limited supply will be available starting Thursday as Netflix ramps up a campaign for season 3 of Stranger Things. So what had happened was they debuted New Coke in '85, and then I'm not joking. It was on the news. What a failure! You guys remember it? I was 11, and I remember the firestorm. I remember people going, and people were picketing Coca-Cola in Georgia. No. I on the radio show, I went to YouTube. I got into a YouTube vortex. I was watching local news reports from Georgia, and people were picketing, wanting, it was like, bring my, I want my, they had the new Coke and it had the lime through it, and bring back my Coke, and yeah. Well, it didn't last long. Then that's when Coca-Cola Classic debuted. But it was a debacle for that company. One of the biggest high-profile bombs of a new product.
So why bring it back and remind everyone?
Well, because some people actually, good question, some people actually liked it. It was sweeter. If you guys remember, this was every taste buds, but right? New Coke was sweeter and tasted more like Pepsi to me. And people didn't like that.
Oh, but then why wouldn't you just get a Pepsi? See, I'm just like, why?
Well, that's what they did.
I could just keep asking questions that no one can explain.
Fine. That's what they did. They did the Coca-Cola, the Cola Challenge, the Pepsi Challenge, and people picked Pepsi. Yeah. Oh. And I was looking back at '85. A lot of crazy pop culture stuff happened in '85.
Da Bears.
Da Bears. The color purple debuted. They found the Titanic, for heaven's sake.
Oh.
Madonna was huge. Patrick Duffy died on Dallas. I mean, it was giant.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't...
Y'all laugh! But it was the #1 show on television, and everyone freaked out when he was run over. Now, granted, he came back alive in a shower the next year, but, it's fine. Yeah, we gotta go.
That was intense. That was intense. Jordan was born in 1985, which was the biggest...
We'll be right back, everybody. You young people. We'll be right back. Stay with us, everybody. Coming up, 2 big movies, 2 fun slices of hot dish.
Woody, I have a question.
First, the new trailer for Toy Story 4 just dropped, and we have your first look.
Prince Ali,
Then Will Smith is doing the rounds promoting Disney's live-action Aladdin. We'll have the highlights. Then he's the guy who can deal with your dog dilemma. Dr. Eric is back, and today he's showing us fur parents how to deal with dog anxiety. Plus, he's answering your pet questions from our Facebook page. And from the easy to the fabulous, we have some great Memorial Day barbecue recipes you are gonna love. The Jason Show will be right back.
what do you think this news story could be?
Cop arrests sketchy man who's very angry for stealing a banana from the grocery store clerk at the grocery store. Yeah.
So you think a story made the news?
Yep. I think it's a big
news
deal.
story was that a man got arrested for stealing a banana. That is a slow news day.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you're actually not that far away. What this is police in Iowa arrested a man after he assaulted a convenience store clerk with a banana.
Close. I was so close.
The man is hoping he will now get out on appeal. Thank you very much. Bless you. Thank you for playing.
Wow. That was good. Some emoji news with James Corden last night. Welcome back to the show. We were doing the research team. Listen, we were talking about 1985. Listen to the top 10 shows of 1985. We had Dynasty Dallas, The Cosby Show, 60 Minutes, Family Ties, The A-Team, Simon and Simon, Murder, She Wrote, Knots Landing, Falcon Crest, and a show called Crazy Like a Fox. I don't know what that was. Yeah, anyway. And then Cheers was right below that. So, yeah. Next in the dish, the new trailer for Toy Story 4 just dropped, and a new character is introduced that, trust me, I seen the toys at Disney World last weekend. Your kids are going to want this toy. Look.
Woody, why am I alive? You are a toy. You belong to Bonnie. These are your friends.
Woody, I have a question. Well, actually, not just one. I have all the questions.
Who wants wants to go on a road trip?
Me!
Vacation!
You need help with that?
No, I got it. I know, this is a little strange, but we all have to make sure nothing happens to Forky.
Something happened to him.
Buzz, we gotta get Forky.
Roger that.
The panic is attacking me. Change of plans. Jesse, Ham, Buzz, Bo, Rex, Potato Head.
Hey, watch it, buddy.
Let's go save a spork.
That's right. There's a new character, Forky. Forky is his name. He's the new toy. I love it. Voiced by Veep's Tony Hale. How good is that? Forky vanishes, and Woody and the gang set out to save him. And as I said, we were there last weekend, and they already have Forky toys out, like at Toy Story Land. I'm 44, and I wanted to buy a little Forky, little stuffed animal.
I could make you one.
Yeah, we could.
I could make you one of those. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah. Toy Story Land is so magical. If you guys get to, it's like you do feel like you're 11 years old. It's just like a little Slinky Dog roller coaster, and yeah. But Forky, your kids are gonna love it. Look for them in stores, and then the movie gets released a little bit. I was scared about this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed to do a fourth one, but the more trailers I see,
it looks really good.
It looks actually really good. I have to, and I didn't think Pixar would do anything wrong. But next in the dish, we're going from one area of movies to another. We go from Pixar to Quentin Tarantino. That's right. Quentin Tarantino's newest movie is earning like crazy, insane rave reviews. If you don't know what the movie is, here's a clip from the trailer for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I'm Rick Dalton. It's my pleasure, Mr. Schwartz.
Call me Marvin. Put it there. That's your son?
No, that's my stunt double, Cliff Booth.
Last night, we watched a Rick Dalton double feature. All the shooting. I love that stuff, you know, the killing.
A lot of killing.
Anybody order fried sauerkraut?
Seems this world got you down. You're feeling bad vibrations.
Are you an actor?
No, I'm a stuntman.
Girl, look at me.
So you still with Rick, huh? Still here.
You can do anything you want to him.
I hired you to be an actor, Rick, not a TV cowboy. You're better than that.
Yeah, you saw the movie takes place in 1969 in LA, where everything is changing. Hollywood, it really was kind of the period. It went from like Doris Day movies to gritty urban cowboy and more grittier movies. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie. It kind of revolves around, well, it's not about it, but the Sharon Tate murder is around it. And it's based on Burt Reynolds' Stuntman, right? Stuntman is his friend. So Burt Reynolds was supposed to be in the movie, but unfortunately, he passed away. But
yeah, it looks really good. I mean, just that cast alone is like you're going to go see it, you know?
Yeah, admittedly, I'm not a huge Quentin Tarantino fan.
Really?
It's hit and miss for me. I have to admit, obviously, I appreciate pop culture, but Quentin's movies aren't one that I sit down and go, I'm going to watch Pulp Fiction again. I just,
I would.
You would?
Yeah, to me, he's a weird cat, but all of his movies are bangers.
Yeah.
Bangers.
I
They're
would,
good.
first of all, I love that you use that word. It's but I never would have, if I had to lay money down, I would have bet that you would not have liked Quentin Tarantino movies.
Oh, love them. I love sword fighting, slaying movies.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, so you love Kill Bill, don't you?
Oh, totally.
I knew you would love that one. Yeah. Still ahead, everybody. We're talking pet anxiety with a local vet. But next, Aladdin comes out this weekend, and Will Smith is making the rounds. What he said about filling the shoes of the late Robin Williams when we come back. Back in a moment, everybody.
It was just. How does that work with the royal family? When you come, are you then required to? Is it expected that you will go to them and
yeah,
it's hang with them?
It's like a royal family, So there's all the rules. So we had to.
You did have to do all the rules.
So you do.
Okay.
There's like an hour prep where they explain all of the rules of how to deal with the royal family. So we're there, they sit all our people down, and they teach us all the protocols, and we're sitting there, I'm like, okay, yeah, don't you, okay, do the, you get all your stuff, because you don't want to be to disrespect the royal family, you know.
Yeah. But
You know.
he was
Yeah,
like,
you know.
hey, I'm the Fresh
Yeah, I'm the
Prince. I don't
Fresh-
give
yeah.
anybody.
And, you know, Range Rover pulls up, and His Highness is sitting in the driver's seat. He goes, bip, bip, hey, Will, buddy, come on, let's go.
That's it? The guy?
Yes.
Really?
It's like, so I hop in the passenger seat, and me and him just drive off.
What?
And he's like, oh, man, I'm glad those guys are gone.
Oh, really?
I love that. Will Smith talking about meeting the royal family of Jordan, where much of Aladdin was shot. Yeah, well, Will has been making the rounds promoting Aladdin. He stars, you guys know this, is the genie, which is not an easy task because the original genie, we know this, was played by the late, great Robin Williams. And boy, did he played that role. It's probably one of my favorites of Robin's. He talked to Ellen about how difficult it was to step into that iconic role.
And I was like, I just didn't think I wanted to touch it. And then I started playing with the music, and the music is where I found my in to the genie. A Friend Like Me was the first song that I messed with in the studio, and then I found that sort of hip-hop flavor that was sort of what Robin did was he took his stand-up persona and used his stand-up persona, and I was like, oh, I could just use my sort of Fresh Prince persona and use that because the genie's been forward and back in time, so you can pull references from anywhere. So I mirrored that, and the hip-hop in was where I saw I could put my own signature while maintaining the nostalgic value.
And you sing. We know you.
And I said it before. I think that's a really good strategy. You can't outdo Robin. You can't outdo Robin Williams. You just can't. You got to make it your own. The live-action remake of Aladdin hits theaters on Friday. I was supposed to see it last night, but Girls' Night ran a little long.
Go figure.
I'll go. But I'll have my review. I'm excited to see this one. And I every time I think of Robin Williams, I always, out of all the celebrities that I've ever met, sometimes the audience asks, when I spend time with them, who's been your favorite celebrity or what's it been like? Robin Williams was the one that lived up to every expectation because everybody told me not to prepare a question because you don't really get a question out when you interview Robin Williams, and you don't. And the interview was in 2009, 2010 at the Smithsonian, and it was for Night at the Museum. And what happens is they call your name and they tell the actor who you are. They go, okay, Robin, this is Jason from Minneapolis. And you walk in and he was paired with Owen Wilson, and I'm not joking. They look at Robin and they go, okay, Robin, next is Jason from Minneapolis. And I walk in and he goes, Jason from Minneapolis, the state of lakes. And he goes on and then he does a Prince riff. He's like, the home of Prince, Purple. And he starts doing this riff on Prince. 4 minutes later, the woman goes, and your time's up. And that was it. But it was joyous. Like, I said not a word. And it was the greatest interview I ever did, really. It was fantastic. Yeah, he was good. Owen didn't say anything either. You're just a genius. Still ahead, everybody, we're talking ways to cope with pet anxiety. Plus, our local vet is answering your questions, and boy, did we get a ton on our Facebook page. We'll be back right after this, everybody. Welcome back. Well, common question. Do your dogs act out when you're not around? Yeah. Just one of mine, who's watching right now, Dexter. Do they chew on the remote because they know it'll annoy you? Yes. Well, you're not alone. Here to give us some tips on how to deal with canine anxiety, give it up for Dr. Eric Rulin from the St. Paul Pet Hospital. Hi, Doctor. I'm sure to some people you hear pet anxiety and people, non-pet owners, kind of roll their eyes, but it's a real thing, and what is it exactly?
Absolutely, absolutely. Anxiety is a physiological response, and it's a overstimulation and fear of the unknown, and kind of fear of a situation that's inappropriate.
And it's pretty common it's pretty common in dogs.
It's very common in dogs. It's as common in dogs as it is in people.
Okay, and how does it manifest itself? And I'm going to get to my dog in a minute. We have video, but how does it manifest itself? Does it depend on the breed? Obviously, the dog.
A little bit. There's breed dispositions. Every breed is a little bit more. The more athletic, the larger the breed, the little bit more likely that they're going to have a predisposition to have a lot of extra energy and be a little bit more wound up, and every breed's a little bit different.
How about boxers? I'm just joking. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So vocalization, I'm assuming just barking, screaming. That's one of the ways it manifests itself?
Absolutely. Hypersalivation, shaking, panting, vocalization, chewing on objects, your shoes, remotes, which we all love, laptops, destruction of doors, that kind of thing.
Not listening. See, I just thought that was stubbornness. That could be a symptom of anxiety?
Not as much, but if they're not engaged and not listening, that's a different thing. And if they can't be focused, lack of focus can sometimes be a sign of anxiety.
Let's show now. I've called him out enough, and again, he's probably watching on the TV. This is video of the remote my dog just chewed up. Yeah, my buddy Quinn was house sitting and left the remote out and didn't know that Dexter is. Now watch this. Look at this guilty face as the camera pans over. Ready? Oh, he knows. Oh,
I totally did
it. Dexter, you know you did it. You know you did it. Look at that face. What, doctor, what is it? Is there something with remotes? Because he won't chew anything else.
It's got your scent on it. It's got your smell. It's got the scent of your hands on it. So you're like the sweat that's in the rubber on the remote. They love that because that's they're seeking something out that you want. It's the same reason they go after shoes. You know, shoes they're full of scent and dogs love that. So they just want to get their face in there.
So it's almost a compliment. I mean, because do they do it? No. I mean,
I wouldn't go that far.
No. I just. What I mean by that is, I always say our theory is that Dexter does it because he's mad we left him. Is that possible?
He's not mad. He's seeking out things that smell like you. He's seeking out items that smell like you, and he's that anxiety, and that's how he's manifesting. He's got all this nervous energy, and and he's probably orally fixated too. When they're destroying things or picking up things and chewing on them, he has an oral fixation, and he's probably anxious that you're not there.
So what's a good solution? Is it a good old-fashioned chew toy, or what would you recommend?
Yeah. So the base, a lot of the separation anxiety issues that I deal with have been, and Dexter's, how old is Dexter now?
He's 6. He just turned 6.
A lot of the separation anxiety I start to see in dogs starts to manifest around 3 or 4 years of age.
That's when it started.
And that's when it starts because he gets conditionalized to you walking out the door every day. You grab your keys, you put your shoes on, and he starts watching you like, what's Dad's doing? What's Jason doing here?
Yeah.
And then he knows you're going to leave him. And so that ramps it up a little bit. And so he gets conditionalized over 2-3 years, and he knows when you're going to be gone. So one thing is breaking up the routine of when you leave every day and trying to break that, or grabbing your keys and jostling your keys when you're not going to leave, or grabbing your shoes and putting your shoes on and then sitting down and watching the TV.
It's interesting.
So you're going to break that routine so he can't associate all of those things at the same time.
I started doing that where I walk out of my condo and
That's perfect,
and then I walk right back in sometimes just to confuse them.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
absolutely. Like, psych, I'm still here.
Totally.
Yeah.
Great. That's great. Yeah. And another thing with anxiety, and as somebody who suffers from anxiety, it's very common in people, but the basis of this is getting them more activity. So I always ask my clients when they were talking about anxiety issues, what is your dog's workout schedule like? Because if you're not getting them to the point of pure exhaustion, I'm not talking about a walk every day. I mean, we're talking about animals that are born and bred to run literally all day long.
Yeah.
So if they're not going out and you're not knocking the sugar off of them, that's what I always tell my clients.
Yeah, I like
30 to 45 minutes a day. If you're not doing, or 3 times a week
you're going to be buying a lot of remotes.
Yeah. They've got all this energy built up. If he's dog tired and he's going to lay down and sleep, he can't really be that anxious if he's so exhausted.
I got to tell you, I have learned, this was like an education right here. Now, we're not done. The doctor's sticking around. A lot of you, we got like 100 comments in about 20 seconds. So we have a lot of questions. The doctor is sticking around and he'll be answering your pet questions when we return. Back after this. That is crazy. We gave you a compliment off camera, and I'll say it on camera. In TV 20 years, I used to host The Buzz, so we do a lot of segments. Probably one of the most informational pet segments I've ever done.
Perfect. Thank you.
I learned a lot of light bulb moments. Okay, so We're basically letting you borrow Dr. Eric for just a second from the St. Paul Hospital, from the St. Paul Pet Hospital. It's time to answer your questions that you posted on our Facebook page. First up, a question we got a few times. This one's from Allie. Hey, doctor, my dog is constantly licking her paws. We tried switching her food, but nothing seems to work. How can I help her?
Jason, I get this question all the time from clients because people usually associate licking their paws with some type of allergy. And that's usually, it's one of two things. It's almost always an allergy situation, or sometimes it can be an oral fixation with anxiety, similar to what we were just talking about. But people associate allergies with foods. And I never understand this because statistically and what we know from allergies, of all the dogs I have in my practice, less than 3% of those dogs are going to have an allergy to their food. So of all the dogs I have in my practice, we're talking about a very small percentage. But everybody comes in and say, I switched my dog to a grain-free diet or whatever. That just is so statistically inaccurate. So usually, if they're licking their paws, a lot of times it's an allergy, it's an environmental allergy. It's tree pollen, it's grass pollen, house dust mites, the things that are,
It's like Kendall Girl. It's like Kendall, yeah.
So washing their feet helps more commonly, getting those allergens off there. Because right now the grass is wet, you go outside in the morning, grass is wet, all the pollen sticks to their pads, and then they start licking, and then what happens when they lick their paws, they change the pH of the skin, and then all of a sudden yeast starts growing in there, and it's all a manifestation of allergy.
I can't do better than this. I can't, yeah. Next up, Gretchen. This is great. Gretchen says, my cat loves to chew cardboard. As far as I can tell, she doesn't actually eat it. What's up, Gretchen writes, okay? Have fun with this one, doctor.
Gretchen, you got a weird cat.
Yeah. Next question. I don't know, what?
It's probably an oral fixation thing. It's a textural thing. And I don't have a good reason.
We're sorry, Gretchen. You have an interesting cat.
It's normal, probably oral fixation.
Next, Shells posted this. Ever since I found out I was pregnant, my cats are obsessed with sitting on me. Doctor, can they tell I'm pregnant?
Absolutely.
Yes!
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Absolutely, yeah. But cats are selfish. They're probably laying on top of her. I mean, we'll be honest.
He said it. Don't email me, cat people.
They're laying on your stomach probably because you're warm and there's more vasodilation in that area. Like I said, cats are still selfish at the end of the day.
Yeah. Again, email him. I love cats. We all love cats here. Yeah. He's a vet. He loves cats. Next, Rebecca asks, do you recommend using raised bowls for food and water for pets? Good question.
That's a great question. I don't see any indication unless I have a congenital condition like megaesophagus or something else, or I'm dealing with a patient that has dental disease or something that we, there's not really that many reasons that we need to do that.
But it's a trend now. I see them everywhere. And I'm like,
I think the trend behind that is if you can get food. So I think it's a big thing with pets like mice. If you can get food bowls off the ground and a mouse can't get up, and if you're leaving food around all the time, it's probably just more hygienic and clean. But there's really no reason. There's no anatomical reason to do that. There are some patients that I do, but no.
A question from Janie. Hey, Janie, my lab started eating grass. I've heard this could mean that they are not feeling well, that they're sick. Should I be concerned?
Not at all. No.
Is that an old wives' tale? Because I used to hear that.
I hear that all the time. People come in and they say, my dog's eating grass, what's wrong? And I laugh and I'm like, your dog's totally normal.
Okay, there we go.
Totally normal.
Dogs are supposed to eat grass.
They're omnivorous. Their GI tract is a lot like ours. So there's vitamins, minerals, and all the good stuff that's in there.
Finally, Gloria Ann says, my Westie Samoyed mix, that's a mix right there, wants me to constantly pet him or he barks at me. Is this something I can break him of?
He has trained you really well.
Yes!
You can just ignore him when he does that. So there's a couple things. You're giving him physical praise every time you're touching his face, and it's you're doing what he wants you to do. So you can either ignore it. The nuclear option in something like that would be to literally going. I would ask her, or I'd ask anybody if there's a behavior they're trying to train. Is that ever appropriate? Is it ever appropriate for your dog to run up and bark at you? And you'd have to think, is that okay or not? And if it's never okay, then I would maybe move to something like maybe a bark collar or something that when there's a stimulus and it's immediate and it's quick and it's a quick correction to that behavior. But if it's something that maybe it is favorable, maybe she does want, maybe you do. So then I would go I'd say more of the ignoring part. But yeah, it's like I said, we've trained you pretty well, apparently.
At least he's not eating cardboard.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Give it up for Dr. Eric Ruin, everybody.
Thank you.
For information, everybody, head to stpaulpet.com. Right there, we'll be posting this a little bit later on Facebook. Still ahead, we've got 3 ways to impress your friends this Memorial Day when we return. Back in a moment, everybody. My God, thank you, Doc. That was fantastic. That was great. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for spending a little bit of it with us. Memorial Day is just a few days away. Hope that weather turns. And you're going to be hanging out with family and friends at the barbecue. You may want to make something, maybe. But don't worry, you don't need to go all out and get fancy to impress the fam. Here with some of her recipes. Give it up for Lindsay, everybody. Hi, Lindsay.
Thanks so much for having me.
We were having a spirited debate between cucumbers and zucchini. Where do you stand on that?
I'm pro both.
I'm pro both, but zucchinis are far superior to the cucumber.
They're both vessels for other delicious things.
Thank you, Lindsay. I knew. So this is why I love Lindsay. We have divided this audience into 3 distinct categories of ease. Lindsay, the first one, you call it basic and okay with it. Okay, basic and okay.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So what is that?
Well, okay. So let's start here. Every time I host, and I'm throwing my friends under the bus,
Yeah.
you've got that one person where you're like, can you bring something to share?
Yep.
And they show up with like a bag of potato chips and top the tater. And not that that's wrong, because I love top the tater. Exactly, yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yes.
I top everything
Yes.
with top the tater.
But it is like basic.
Basic.
They ran into whatever grocery store was on their way, way over.
And they didn't even pre-plan.
Yes.
You know what they did? On the way to your house, they stopped at Cub
Or Holiday.
Rolled in, and went in
Yes.
there, and they're like, "I'll get some cigs and some dip," and that's what you know what I mean. Yeah.
And they don't share the cigs. They
No,
just bring the dip in.
They don't, yeah.
So Texas caviar, one of my girlfriends started making this years ago, and
Oh, yes.
I love it. It's so delicious. It goes back to 1940, actually. Neiman Marcus, the head chef at Neiman Marcus, this woman named Helen Corbett, started making it. So this is fancy. It is real fancy. You may call it cowboy caviar. It's the exact same thing. So my issue with the recipe that my girlfriend gave me, she's one of those delightful humans who can eat whatever she wants and doesn't gain an ounce. So her recipe had a cup of sugar in it. I don't fall into those categories.
We won't. Neither do I. We won't name her, but I hate you. Yeah.
So I redid the recipe. Instead of using sugar, I actually used rice vinegar and honey. And so it gives it a really nice, fresh flavor. It's got a ton of herbs in there. I've got cilantro, chives, scallions. What's great about this, make it the night before, let it sit in the fridge. It's going to marinate.
Yes.
And that's where you get all the really nice, delicious thing. And then this is the trick. Have you had these before?
What is that?
Donkey chips. Oh my God, game changer. Game changer.
Have you guys had the donkey chips?
Right? Yeah.
Kendall, come up here. Have you had a donkey chip? Come here, Allergy.
Four ingredients. So 4 ingredients.
Okay.
It's super simple. They put Chipotle's chips to a run.
Oh, that face. I'm excited.
I want to stick my head in that bag.
Yeah. So here's the trick.
I get to eat this?
Most grocery stores hold these in the actual chip aisle. I've noticed Hy-Vee keeps them in the natural food section. So if you're a Hy-Vee shopper, head on over to the natural foods. Do not buy the unsalted. They are not worth it. This is where it's at. Yes. Yeah, and as long as you're not a double dipper, dig on in. I don't care.
I'm not a double dipper.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So I double dip all the time.
I'm so excited for this. Okay, so that is basic and okay with it. What are we calling this level of, who are you trying to impress? Yeah.
And it's working. Okay, so fun little local company called Bamboo MN, and they sell these great little skewers. So buy a pack of them. You can get them on Amazon. You can buy them from their shop. Keep them at home. You use them the exact same way you would use kebabs. You know, put them in water so that they don't burn. This is just a really simple recipe, bacon wrapped water chestnuts. So I took the water chestnuts, marinated them in a little soy sauce, wrapped them in some great cut bacon. I actually made these last night and just reheated them in the microwave. A great thing to do, make them, put them in a crock pot and keep them warm. Whoa, hold on. Do you like heat? Do you like heat?
Oh my God, that scared me to death.
I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of Minnesotans here.
I'm fine with heat. I'm fine with heat, yeah.
So this is a chili garlic yogurt dipping sauce. It's loaded with some cilantro and scallions, a few chives. It's heat. It's hot. If you're going to a Minnesota family reunion, don't bring that with. but it's got some nice heat to it. This is really awesome to keep in your pantry if you like a little heat there. I warned you.
Uh-huh.
In fairness, everyone, did I not warn you?
It's not that hot.
All right.
I don't like. That's really good though.
It's not that hot.
I mean, it's hot.
Next, this final category is, oh, you fancy with that Chardonnay smoked sea salt.
Oh, you fancy.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Oh You Fancy. All right, so I rolled into the Golden Fig in St. Paul, and I've got some Penzi spices there as well. I introduced you to that Vietnamese cinnamon the last time I was here.
Yes.
So pull over this Chardonnay smoked sea salt. Right there, yes.
Okay.
Open that up and smell it. So it's going to have a lot of smoke in there.
I can't smell anything.
Oh, that's right. She hasn't been able to smell for 2 weeks. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, delicate. Doesn't it smell like money? Like, in
Oh.
all honesty, doesn't it just smell rich and fancy?
Oh, it does.
I gotta stick my.
Can you smell it? It smells
Just
rich.
pretend.
Yeah.
It smells great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Oh.
All right, so what we've got here are just some sweet and savory pistachios. I just took shelled, unsalted pistachios. They're rolled up in some brown sugar, cinnamon, butter, this sea salt. The key with roasting anything is you want to make sure that whatever you're putting on it, your topping sticks to it. So melt it in a giant glass bowl and then roll your nuts in it and then roast them out on a pan. Try those.
Okay.
Oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
Are they good? Can you taste it, Kendall?
Yeah.
You can?
I can. I promise. It'd be better if I could taste it even better.
A little sweetness, a little bit of that smoke, but you've still got the saltiness of the pistachios.
I could eat those.
Those
a
would
lot.
be wonderful adding into like homemade Chex Mix.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And this always works. This always happens when I rave about something. People always miss it when I rave about it, and we get emails for like the next 8 years. Again, this is called Chardonnay smoked. Where am I? Over here. Chardonnay smoked sea salt. And where can they get this?
This is at Golden Fig in St. Paul.
Yeah. Well, Golden Fig, you better get that stock ready because this is
It's
really
fantastic.
This is
That's
really
really
good. And I am returning to those donkey chips as soon as we are done. That's right. Go ahead and get that bag out. Give it up for Lindsay, everybody. Follow. Her website's at the bottom, right there. Oh, Lindsay, that was really good.
Thank you.
Donkey chips have changed my life.
I
We'll be
know.
right back. Everybody, stay with us. Yeah.
That is good.
That's some good eating right up in there. Yeah. Kendall joins me again, and ladies and gentlemen, it's time to open up the Jason Show mailbag. Here we go. First up, many of you are asking about our upcoming trip to Duluth. You know, the Jason shows in different cities, including Duluth, and we're bringing the show up there, including Randy. He asks, if Jason is going to be in Duluth this August, will he be doing a show that we can get tickets to? So here's the deal. I want to explain this because I don't want to mislead anybody. What we're going to be doing is Kendall, myself, some of the crew will be coming up there, I think on like a Thursday, and I'm going to be staying through the weekend, and we're going to be taping a series of stories. Then we're going to be doing like a Duluth week. So it won't be a live show done in Duluth, but we will be out taping for a couple days, and you'll be seeing us around. We are working on maybe trying to get an event where you can come see us at like a coffee shop or something, because we really want to meet. You guys have been so supportive. Rochester too. You folks in Duluth, have been so supportive of the Jason Show, and we greatly appreciate it. So we want to meet you, and we'll be telling you where we'll be. So and by the way, keep the recommendations coming on what to do in Duluth, and if it involves anything dangerous, send it to Kendall. Next up. Deborah says, I don't know, but I think producer Ted and Cam on The Bachelorette are the same person. Any thoughts? We checked with Ted, and we can confirm. Now look at this. Here's a side-by-side. Oh!
What is he doing? What is Ted doing?
What is Ted doing in that? Like, that was the Ted Book Club segment that bombed. That's right, yeah. Yeah, anyway, keep the emails and questions coming, and who knows, we could answer them on it. I just can't get the picture of Ted. I'm just reading like he does that randomly in the middle of the studio. Yeah, anyway.
What?
By the way, thanks to our guest today, Lindsay, so darn good. We'll be putting the recipes up a little bit later. Dr. Eric. I learned a lot about my dog, and I've had him for 6 years, so thanks to Dr. Eric. We'll be having Dr. Eric back on. Ladies, he's married. Yeah, anyway, tomorrow. Oh, wow, they got... sorry, I think he's married. He's single, ladies. I don't know. Tomorrow. No, I think he's
Give
married.
them what they
Tomorrow on
want.
the show, cabin season is here, and why not look your best at the lake? Sarah Rogers is here. I think he's married. I just want to be clear. Go out there, be yourself. Bye.